Today we will discuss about mental health well-being during COVID-19. As you know, since last 1 year we are struggling with COVID-19 and mental health is an issue. I am Professor Dr. Sarada Prasanna Swai, Director cum Medical Superintendent, Mental Health Institute, Center of Excellence, SC Medical College, and I am Professor and Head of the Department of Psychiatry of SC Medical College. So in today's discussion, we will discuss mostly on the mental well-being during COVID-19. What is mental well-being? As you know, health is a parameter which is a combination of three dimensions. One is physical dimension, second is mental health dimension, and third is social dimension. Many things have been talked about physical dimension and social dimension. But during COVID-19, mental health dimension is evolved as one of the most important dimension for which each and every individual and the community, policymakers, everybody has talked about during COVID-19 lockdown and during COVID-19 pandemic. So today we will discuss mostly what is mental health well-being, what are the issues of mental health during COVID-19, and what are the mental health issues following post COVID-19. As you know, if we will see what is health, in the health dimension, for a complete normal well-being, there should be a equilibrium between the physical health, mental health, emotional health, social and socio-economic health, vocational health, and spiritual health, and what we have added during COVID-19, that is called dimension of social media. Because during COVID-19, social media has a great impact on the individual or in the community or the family, those who are staying inside the house. So when there is a equilibrium between these parameters, physical, mental, emotional, vocational, spiritual, and effect of social media, when you will maintain only a equilibrium, somebody will have a normal health or health equilibrium. In the time of COVID-19, there are mental health issues. Why there is mental health issue? Mental health is a component which is a biopsychosocial component. In the biopsychosocial component, if you will tell during COVID-19 what has happened to mental health. During COVID-19, there is lockdown, there is uncertainty, there is restrictions on the normal basic parameters, and because all the people are staying in the community or in the family, there is workload, and the most important component which is hampered, that is barriers for the basic needs. By taking all into account, that means uncertainty where we are staying in the society, lockdown, restrictions, workload, everything gave rise to a contradiction for the positive mental health well-being, because our psychosocial component of mental health is completely disrupted. To maintain a biopsychosocial model or to maintain a positive mental health, there should be equilibrium between our biological component, psychological component, and the social component. Because of the restrictions and lockdown and unfulfillment of the barriers or unfulfillment of basic needs, there is restriction on the psychosocial component. That means psychologically we are not feeling comfortable because we are not going outside. Socially, we are unable to interact with our friends and relatives. So there is some restrictions. So there is a disequilibrium in the psychosocial model, thereby causing impairment in the biopsychosocial model and causing a disequilibrium in the mental health component. And as you know, whole world, not any community, is experimenting with the highest psychological experiment in the last decade. So now we will discuss what is stress following COVID-19. If you will compare a human being For a mental health, there are two components. One is external environment and second is internal environment. What is external environment? The external environment is our psychosocial environment, what I just told now. Second, our friends and relatives, our school, college, workplace, family. Disaster has an impact on the external environment, and as you know, to COVID-19 is a type of disaster. Similarly, loss of relationship and death in the family or in the community, riots, these are the things that influence the mental well-being of a individual. Similarly, how mental health is affected internally? A person's internal environment is decided by his physical health, mental health, his genetics. That means what is his genetics, his lifestyle, his thinking or the thought process by which human being is born and brought up, and what he is thinking is his mental health process, and the disease burden. And this point of time, the disease burden is COVID-19, and substance abuse and spirituality is one of the important dimension by virtue of our Indian context, which affects our internal environment. So to maintain a equilibrium of a human being, both should be a external environment and the internal environment. Both components should have a equilibrium to maintain a positive mental health well-being. If any of the components is affected in the COVID-19 following stress, let's take the example during COVID-19. What happens in the COVID-19? The internal environment is completely disrupted. Why? Because making constant our genetics, our lifestyle component is completely disrupted. Why? Because we are not going outside. Our thinking process is disrupted because we have a restriction on the normal routine activities. Similarly, we are unable to fulfill the basic needs because we are not going outside. Similarly, the disease burden is increased because we are staying in the home, and because of COVID-19 affection, because of the COVID-19, because most of the people are affected with COVID-19, there is a disease burden has been increased. Similarly, when people are staying inside the house, there is large scale use of tobacco, alcohol and other substances which is causing health related problems and which is not required at this point of time. To alleviate the anxiety and the depressive symptoms or the symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, people are consuming the substance which is ultimately hampering their physical and mental health. Similarly, in some instances, because spiritual dimension is one of the most important dimension, so it is disrupted because all the temples and churches, everything is closed because of the COVID-19. So people has a disruption during COVID-19. So that's why in the time of COVID-19, because it is a type of disaster, so everything is disrupted, like individual, family, and especially in the children's, those who are not going to their school, their daily routine is disrupted, and they have not going to the school, they are not going to the college. So children and adolescents are one of the most important group who are affected because staying in the house. Similarly, we are not visiting our friends and relatives. That's why there is a disruption. And ultimately, there is a disruption of psychosocial environment, thereby causing a imbalance in the mental health atmosphere of a human being. This is the basic reason why mental health component is affected. Now we will discuss what is the psychosocial stressor following COVID-19. Everybody should know and everybody should remember, after every stressful situation, there is a normal stress response, and which is always a normal reaction to an abnormal response. Any stress in our personal life, when you are in the family or when you are in your workplace, there is everywhere there is stress. But everybody combat the stress by their coping skills or by their coping mechanisms. So any human being, when face any stress, they have a normal reaction to a abnormal response. And in the most of the circumstances, most of the people, they cope with the stress. But during COVID-19, what are the specific stressor which is causing the mental health issues? First, there is rumors and misinformation about the COVID-19 on the social media. That means common man or common people are unable to get the accurate information about the COVID-19 virus, what are the symptoms, whether vaccine should be taken or not taken. So there is great deal of controversy when people are using social media. There are many rumors that people will die following COVID-19. People should not have vaccination because vaccination is a problem, and all are rumors. And there are many misconceptions about COVID-19 that people will have complete lung damage after COVID-19. And for information of all, there is only less than 1% of death in the COVID-19. So people should get their proper information only from the recognized social media or from sites like Indian Council of Medical Research site of Government of India and site of Government of Odisha and site of World Health Organization or WHO. So what are other kinds of stressors? Similarly, physical isolation or quarantine, because of when somebody is affected, they are staying alone, which is just a contradiction for a normal positive mental health well-being. But we have to stay in the quarantine, we have to stay in the isolation to take care of our own health and to get rid of COVID-19 complications. Similarly, there is travel restrictions, there is deterioration on the trust on different agencies and networks. Similarly, there are abundance of health facilities. When somebody feels that if I will go outside, then I may be infected with COVID-19. So, in spite the person has the disease, they are not going outside to take care of their health or to just consult the doctors or to take care of their own disease. Similarly, there is risk of relapse of pre-existing health conditions, including mental health. If somebody is suffering from any particular disease like mental health issues, or it is hypertension or diabetes or arthritis, people are not going to consult the doctors or people are not going to the hospitals because they have fear that if they will go outside, they may be infected with COVID-19, which is not true. Similarly, there is common symptoms of other health problems that lead to fear of infection. So these are the specific stressors, but everybody should remember, as I have already told, this is a normal reaction to abnormal response. So most of the people, those who have coping skills, they will combat this psychosocial stressor and they will come to their pre-morbid level or to their normal positive mental health level within a very short period of time. Then who are the sufferers? Those who are the risk groups, they are the sufferers. Who are the risk groups? For example, any person having pre-existing mental illness, any person suffering any physical illness, any person having some staying alone. Similarly, the children and adolescents, pregnant and lactating mothers, and persons staying alone for a long period of time, they are the risk groups. So they should be taken care of specially. So what are the mental health issues following COVID-19? If you will come to the individual issue, there are many issues. For example, during COVID-19, the most common issues or the most common mental health morbidities are unwanted fear or panic, that if we will go outside, we may be infected with COVID-19. There is panic attacks, there are panic reactions, there is sleeplessness, there are adjustment issues, there are anxiety symptoms, there is emotional disturbance to individual. Similarly, there is some somatic complaints like chest pain, back pain or headache, which have no organic origin or which have no origin inside the body. They all are functional. Similarly, headache. All these are the different mental health issues, and ultimately there is exacerbation of pre-existing mental illness. For example, if somebody is suffering from pre-existing mental illness or if somebody is suffering from pre-existing medical illness for a chronic long period of time, like persons with diabetes, persons with hypertension, persons with HIV, persons with cancer, because they have chronic medical conditions, they are also sufferers, or they are in the risk groups for suffering any mental health issues. What are the mental health issues following COVID-19 in the community? If you go to the community, there may be many issues, but most common complication is adjustment disorders. That means people have some emotional reactions, people have some anxiety symptoms, people have some depressive reactions. All these issues are there. Simultaneously, when people are staying in the house, they are trying to consume different substances like tobacco, cannabis and alcohol and all these products which are not required to maintain their health, to alleviate the anxiety. People are taking it and ultimately they are the sufferers. Similarly, another most important component which is hampering our mental health is domestic violence. Because people are staying most of the time inside the house, there is large scale increase of domestic violence as we have observed. Similarly, people are feeling insecure. That is the most important issue during COVID-19. Similarly, most of the people, because of staying alone and because of many reasons, including because of loss of job and because of all the social issues, they have suicidal ideas and the intents, which is called suicidality. There is exacerbation of the physical illness. There may be increase in the depression or the depressive symptoms and exacerbation of pre-existing mental illness. All these are the issues they have just developed following COVID-19. Then come to first symptom. What are the symptoms of COVID-19? That means panic disorder. That means what is panic symptoms? In the panic disorder, when people are becoming panic following COVID-19, what are the symptoms? Somebody will develop palpitation, sudden sweating of whole body, muscle tension, tremor, feeling of own heartbeat, unwanted fear, and work impairment. All these symptoms, when persist for a period of time, that means it lasts for 30 minutes to 1 hour and subsequently subsides, people have some social and occupational impairment. Then how to manage the panic symptoms of COVID-19? We have to get the correct information first from the website of Indian Council of Medical Research, Government of India, Government of Odisha and World Health Organization. We have to reschedule our routine activities because that is most important to maintain a normal positive mental health. There should be regular sleep habits. At least we should sleep for 7 to 8 hours per day at night. We should limit our exposure to social media. For a limited period of time, we have to expose to social media and we should not see any unwanted things from the social media. Similarly, because most of the time we are staying in the house, we have to make our lifestyle changes accordingly. Similarly, we should add meditation, yoga, prayer and some aerobic exercise which is possible inside the house. And if lockdown or shutdown is not there, we should have a walk. And lastly, we should not be panic about the vaccine. We should take the vaccination as per the provision of our government. Similarly, we should rejuvenate our hobbies. We should be involved in some indoor games, listen to our children and to be part of their emotions to alleviate the symptoms of their panic. We should connect with our friends and relatives through virtual mode. And similarly, we should help and support others. And in between the work, those who are staying, for example, many people are now working from home. In the work from home, there is every chance of increase of anxiety and palpitation. So we should take breaks in between the works. And we should educate others. We should properly educate others about the COVID-19 mental health complications. Then another most important component is burnout. As you know, because of the emotional exhaustion, most of the COVID warriors like the police personnel, the doctors, the nursing officers and those who working during COVID-19 day and night, they have a chance of burnout of themselves. So they should first take care of their health. And after burnout, they will have lack of motivation to do the work. So what are the signs and symptoms of burnout? In the burnout, there are physical symptoms, in the emotional symptoms and the behavioral symptom. So what are the physical symptoms of burnout? Patient is somebody, if somebody is affected with burnout symptom, if somebody is affected with burnout symptom, he will have feeling tired and drained most of the time. He will have lowered immunity. He will have frequent headaches, and she will have, in the emotional symptom, he will have sense of failure or self-doubt. He is feeling helpless, and he will feel detachment, and he will have some decreased motivation to do the work. He will not have normal expression during the time of happiness, and he will not interact with others as he or she was doing previously. Then what are the behavioral symptoms? In the behavioral manifestation, in the burnout, person will be withdrawn, and person will be remain isolated from the community or the society. Person will have some person will use some drugs, and person will use some alcohol or other substances to alleviate their symptom. Their behavioral pattern will ultimately change what was there before COVID-19, and ultimately it will hamper the social and occupational level of the individual because of this burnout symptom. And nowadays most of the COVID warriors, like the doctors, nursing officers, police personnel, are, because of the excess workload, they are suffering from burnout syndrome. So they should know what are the signs and symptoms of burnout, and they should detect their own stress so that they can manage themselves. So if we come to the mental health issues during pandemic, there are many issues. For example, we have loneliness, we have home reach service, we have teleconsultation, we have increased digital screen time, our social and emotional security is disrupted, we have abuse in the family. These are the mental health issues during COVID-19 pandemic. So how will you maintain our positive mental health? To maintain a positive mental health, there should be, previously from the birth, we should have a coping skill, and our education system should be such, we should learn how to cope. Similarly, there should be effective parenting, there should be community participation, and there should be childhood bondage. If these things are there, that means coping skill, parenting, school education, everything is intact, then we can very well tolerate the stress of COVID-19. So every child or every parent should know how to make a positive coping mechanism among the children and adolescents to combat the mental stress following COVID-19. So who are the risk groups? As I have already discussed, the risk groups are children and adolescents. They are the most sufferers. Similarly, the geriatric population, because they are the risk groups, they are not going outside, so they are more risk, even if to consult for their medical conditions in the fear of infection of COVID-19, they are not going outside, remaining confined to the house. Similarly, persons with pre-existing medical illness or mental illness, and persons with pregnancy and lactation, the ladies are in the risk groups. So we should take special care of this risk group. Then what are the mental health issues what is the substance consumption? Because as I have already told, that people are consuming substance like tobacco, alcohol, cannabis, and in most of the people are consuming now most of the substances combinedly like cannabis, tobacco, alcohol, because they are in the house, because large scale increase in the use of alcohol following COVID-19. So if somebody will consume these substances, it will create more problem. Everybody should understand that, because people are taking the substance to alleviate their anxiety symptoms, to alleviate their mild depressive symptom, or to alleviate the symptoms of sleeplessness, but ultimately they are becoming the substance users or addicted to the substances, which will create mental health issues following addiction. Another most important thing is stigma. When somebody is affected with COVID-19, people are creating stigma by calling the patient COVID-19 patient, or COVID-19 family, or COVID-19 city, or COVID-19 state, or COVID-19 country. So these are creating stigma. We should not be stigmatize a particular viral disease. If we will stigmatize, then our country will be ruined. So we should not, because it is a viral disease, everybody is fighting, and our government, our community, all the COVID warriors are working day and night to just to combat this disease. So we should not create stigma. We should not call any patient it is a COVID-19 patient. So we should always work against this stigma. Then another important issue is suicidality. Because of COVID-19, there is increase in the mental health issues, and simultaneously people have lost their job. Similarly, people are staying ill, people are staying in the house, loss of job, everything by combinedly. So people have some suicidality. As you know, there are many cases of suicidality has been reported, and which is a very dangerous thing for our community. Everybody should maintain their positive mental health to keep away from the suicidal behavior. Then how will you recognize the suicidal behavior? If you will see person is remaining socially withdrawn, dropping out from group activities, and major changes in the sleep pattern, or withdrawing from friends and relatives, or there is frequent irritability, crying, or erratic behavior, if there is recent financial loss following COVID-19, if there is loss of family member during COVID-19, if feeling of being trapped by somebody, or there is loss of interest in the future, if feeling of being guilt and shame, taking about being burden and on the others, then these are the warning signs of suicidality. Then what are the other signs, or what are the red light signs? When if somebody is talking about their death or dying, that means any mention of dying or disappointment or shooting oneself or other type of self-harm is there, that is a sign. Similarly, if there is change in the personality, that means if somebody is remaining sad, withdrawn, irritable, anxious, tired, indecisive, and there is loss of appetite, that is change in the personality, that is a sign of suicidal warning sign. There is change in behavior, that means difficulty in concentrating on the school, in the workplace, or in the routine activities. If there is change in the sleep pattern, that means insomnia, or early awakening from sleep, or nightmares, or change in the eating habits, that means loss of appetite, weight, or overeating. If there is fear of losing control, that means acting erratically or harming self and others, these are the warning signs of suicidality. So everybody should point out what are the warning signs so that we can save a life. If you see these symptoms, at least you should take the person to the mental health professional. There should be counseling, there should be consultation of the psychiatrist, so that we can get a life and people will be free from suicidal behavior. So in the lockdown, before lockdown, there was a balance between normal physical and mental health. During lockdown, there is a change in the coping, there are adjustment issues, and after lockdown, there is an imbalance between the physical and mental health issues. Then what is post-COVID grief? If there is a death in the family member, if there is death in the community, if a near and dear one has a death following COVID, then what happens? There is grief reaction in the family. The grief reaction generally persists for 14 days. But in some of the cases where there are risk groups, the COVID grief complication persists and people are become mostly affected with these grief reactions. And in the grief reaction, one of the most important component is survivor's guilt. In survivor's guilt, what happens if somebody has death in the family member, and they have the flashback phenomenon, guilt phenomenon, they have sleeplessness, they think why the person has died, they are unable to concentrate in the work, there are some panic reactions, they have anxiety symptom, they have depressive symptoms, and they are unable to stay alone, and there are always some palpitation, sweating, this type of reaction, unable to concentrate anywhere. So what are the post-COVID mental health complications? In the post-COVID mental health complication, many people have sleeplessness, anxiety symptoms, exacerbation of pre-existing mental illness, exacerbation of pre-existing physical illness, survivor's guilt, just I have told now, post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD, adjustment disorder, and depression. In the PTSD, the person concerned will have flashback phenomenon of the death of the family members, or they have different times they are thinking about their death of the family members. They have sleeplessness, anxiety symptoms. They are just any traumatic events, they are coming to their mind many a times, which is disrupting their normal rhythm. They have nightmares. All these symptoms are there. If they persist for a long period of time, they should consult mental health professional. And the mental health in the COVID warriors, especially the doctors, the police personnel, the nursing officers, those who are working in the COVID time, they have burnout syndrome, they have emotional reactions, and they have anxiety disorder, depression, and complicated mental health issues, and post-traumatic stress disorder issues. Although they are professional, if the family, the friends, the relatives, or any person in the workplace, when they have any symptoms, they should detect with the person, because in the mental health issue, mental health symptoms are the only symptom which can be detected by the other person in the community. So if anybody is detecting any mental health, all these issues with any person, they should consult mental health professional, so that person concerned will not go to the complicated mental health symptoms. So the self-harming and suicidal behavior, there are many components following COVID-19, as it is not a single issue, it is a complicated issue, because following COVID-19, there is some financial crisis, if there is some pre-existing mental illness, isolation, domestic violence, and if there is some irresponsible media reporting and substance use disorder, all are making a vicious cycle, all are the reason for the self-harm and suicidal behavior. Everybody should know what are the reason, then only we can resolve the issues by counseling. So, as the World Health Organization and UNICEF have predicted, if there will be one wave, there will be increase of mental health issues following COVID-19. If now we are facing with the second wave, if there will be third wave, that means after multiple waves, the mental health issues, what I have discussed, the depression, the suicidality, the substance abuse disorder, the adjustment disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, survivor's guilt, everything will increase, leading rise to more suicidality. So everybody should know what are the points or where we have to intervene to get rid of this suicidality or COVID-19 complications. So we have to meet our basic needs. So when we are becoming biologically deprived, puts you are in the risk and maybe a compromising ability to care. So to resolve these, to resolve these issues or make a positive mental health atmosphere, you should eat adequate amount of food. You have to take more vegetables and fruits. You should take plenty of water for hydration. So you hydrate yourself, and simultaneously you have to sleep at least 7 to 8 hours. You have to be physically active. That means you do yoga, exercise, meditation, pranayam, and some aerobic exercise in the home when you are in the isolation or in the quarantine, when there is shutdown. And while you are doing work from home, you have to allow yourself sometime in between the work to be relaxed, and you should take care of your own health, and simultaneously you have to reschedule your routine, which will make a positive mental well-being. And as you know, mental health issues is not a single issue, it should be resolved. It is a biopsychosocial model. So if anybody has any issue, they should consult first the mental health professional. The psychological issues generally resolved by the clinical psychologist or the counselors. When there is effective coping, then they can cope better. If there is some social issue in the community, family, in the environments, if there is some issues, as we discussed, then we'll see if somebody has some mental health issue, ultimately they should consult the psychiatrist to resolve the mental health issue. So ultimately there should be, on behalf of government, we have DMHP districts where mental health and psychosocial needs are addressed. So we have some timely factual information should be accessible to all the people. So first aid or the fast psychosocial aid should be given those who are in the risk groups, or those who are suffering from PTSD symptom, those who are suffering from any mental health issue. So fast mental health and psychosocial given to the persons, those who are in the quarantine and isolation. There should be intersectorial coordination. That means we should coordinate with anybody who have some physical issues, and there should be mental health issues should be prioritized, because by resolving mental health issues only, the physical health and mental health will have a equilibrium. We should address the mental health needs of the pre-existing mental illness, and we have to see the special population, and simultaneously the mental health and psychosocial issues to be integrated with onto other intersectoral service to resolve the mental health issues. And to resolve the mental health issue, we have a mental health institute. I have a toll-free helpline number. Any person can contact in this number 1800-345-7288. This is the toll-free helpline number of our institute, Mental Health Institute, SC Medical College. I am telling again 1800-345-7288. Any person can contact in this number to get any help related to mental health crisis. That means if anybody has any suicidal behavior or depressive symptom or PTSD symptom or anxiety issue or not getting help or any stigma is there, or they can at least get from hotel toll-free helpline number where they will consult at any places in India or any places in our state. So toll-free helpline number for the resolve psychosocial issues, there is a Government of India toll-free number, that is 1800-599-0019. To resolve the mental health issue, our Mental Health Institute and district mental health units as helpline numbers. Government of India also has a helpline number. Anybody has any mental health issue, they can call this in toll-free number and their mental health issue will be resolved. So everybody has a role to resolve the mental health issue. So everybody should come forward to resolve the mental health issue of the society and the community. Thank you.